Hey, what's up, lightboltjoe here. Today we are going to discuss the 2015 feature film Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. So we're on Takodana, we're on Dakar, we're on Ahch-To, we're on Jakku, we're on this planet, Star Planet Destroyer, whatever it's called. It's basically the Death Star, but they made it out of a planet, which is interesting. Then we're in many places. So it's 30 years later since Return of the Jedi, right? The Empire has fallen. We know the Mandalorian series, Book of Boba Fett, the Ahsoka series. I think most of the Ahsoka series takes place right after the Empire falls, right? And so there's 30 years later of stuff, and then we start with the Force Awakens. So Kylo Ren is brought into the picture, played by Adam Driver. You have Daisy Ridley, plays the character of Rey. We have John Boyega plays the character of Finn, who's just so awesome. And then Oscar Isaac plays the character of Poe Dameron, who's main man, little droid BB-8, who's just hysterical. So this is a great film. This is a great another installment. This is a great starting point. And then just things happen, and you're like, why? Why did things happen? Things are really great in this film in regards to starting, but the way the characters end just is unfortunate. It's the best word for it, unfortunate. So Poe meets Finn by trying to escape the grips of the First Order, who is taking up the reins of the Empire. The New Republic was created after the Empire fell, with the logical senators within the Senate on Coruscant. And we're not in Coruscant in this, actually, which is weird now that I think about it. Because we're on Coruscant a lot. We're on Coruscant a lot within the prequels, within the certain aspects of the sequels, as in series. So things happen, right? Finn and Poe escape Imperial aspect after Finn is just named FN 128 or something like that. Oh, Gwendolyn, I can't remember her last name. She plays Captain Phasma, another incredible introduction of a character. Uh, Finn is a stormtrooper, and he was taken from a family, given a number, and that's it. But upon going to his first mission, realizing he doesn't want to shoot innocent people just because he was told to do it, he then defects. And in order to defect, he needs a pilot. And he happens to know that Poe Dameron is a pilot who was just captured and, forced to give information in regards to what the BB-8 unit that he had was storing, which is a map to Luke Skywalker, who is the last Jedi, and all Jedi have to be killed, right? We know that from the Kenobi series. We know that from Star Wars Rebels, that there's the Inquisitors, and the Inquisitors are hired from Darth Vader to wipe out the remaining Jedi, because Jedi cannot exist anymore. So the map is with BB-8, who's on Jakku, who meets Rey, who's a scavenger, right? She's waiting for her family to come. And then once the TIE fighter that Finn and Poe take crashes into Jakku, it's presumed that Poe is gone with the ship. And then Finn happens to stumble across his jacket, happens to stumble across BB-8 and Rey. So then they're on their adventure trying to get off Jakku to get to the Resistance with the information that BB-8 refuses to disclose, right? So they take the Millennium Falcon, which is in this junkyard, and it was stolen from this person, who stole it from this person, who stole it from this person, who stole it from Han and Chewie. And so eventually the Falcon is taken by a freighter who is controlled by Han and Chewie, who are freighting these different animals, giant beasts, right? Two different criminal aspects are on board trying to get money out of Han. The beasts attack. Very massive brawls going throughout. They escape within the Falcon, and it's nice seeing everybody, new and old, integrating on the Falcon, working together. So Han is working with Rey because Chewie's being patched up by Finn. Very cool. L3, as in the brain of the Falcon, doesn't have any dialogue within this. She doesn't have any beeps or boops or no reference points, as we know from 3PO referencing, computer's got a mouth on her, kind of a thing, way back in one of the earlier films. So it's neat knowing the history with all those things. It's fun little nods here and there. Going to the Resistance base, meeting General Organa, Leia Organa, having intro of Leia and Han, because they haven't seen each other in quite some time. Their son Ben Solo, was Force sensitive. He was training to be a Jedi with Luke, and all this is explained within this particular story. And uh, something happened where there was too much darkness upon him, and Supreme Chancellor Snoke got a hold of him, turned him to the dark side, and so now he's been on a quest within Supreme Emperor Snoke, Supreme Chancellor Leader, Supreme Leader Snoke, in regards to maintaining the First Order's now control over the galaxy, because they have their giant planet destroyer, and they show their power by knocking out 5 planets at the same time. Very hard to watch. So it's interesting because we know, and it's, again, just spoken within dialogue, Luke started a little temple, a little school to train new Jedi, and something happened, and he just stopped and he got rid of himself and he took himself away. His lightsaber was then passed around. Maz Katana got it, and Rey happened to find it when the new Millennium crew visits Maz to try to, get some information in regards to Luke and get to the Resistance. So why is Luke's saber calling to Rey? And Luke's saber was Anakin's saber. So why is Rey the one hearing all of Ben Kenobi, Obi-Wan Kenobi? Why is she hearing Yoda? Why is she hearing Anakin? Why is she hearing Skywalker lineage? So it's presumed that she's Skywalker lineage if it's the lightsaber passed from one to the next kind of thing, right? Obviously, we were all mistaken towards the finale of Episode 9, where it's revealed that she is not a Skywalker, which makes no sense, but it is what it is. So the information we're given, we're trying to figure things out, right? So it's a matter of what happened during that time period of why is Ben Solo now Kylo Ren? Why was he taken and trained by Snoke? For what purpose, right? We have that Han Solo, Ben Solo showdown at the end, which is really just words, and then Han is killed by, Kylo's new saber. But it's interesting because he's conflicted, and he has to do one thing, but he wants to do something different. And he knows that Snoke wants him to kill Han Solo to get more of the darkness in him, because that's the side he belongs on. But Leia and Rey both know that there's still light in him. So that turmoil within himself is very interesting, because we have that turmoil within Anakin throughout many a different story. So what happens, right? If Finn is a defected stormtrooper and Poe is a resistance leader, what happens with their characters? What happens with BB-8's character? What happens with R2-D2 and 3PO moving forward, right? So Finn has an amazing character arc within this series, within this, I was going to say episode, within this season, within this movie, and then it just trickles away and goes kerplop for no reason, right? We're given a defected stormtrooper wielding a lightsaber. I only have a dark saber near me. I don't have a lightsaber nearby. I don't have a lightsaber, actually. I only have a dark saber. So we have Finn holding a lightsaber, fighting against Kylo Ren, right, on that planet as it's being destroyed. And then he's attacked, Kylo's attacked, and then Rey and Kylo fight. All these really intense lightsaber battles, right? We're given a defected stormtrooper is holding a lightsaber, fighting. And he's going to start some Jedi training. It's just assumed that he's going to start some Jedi training because he's wielding that and he can do this stuff, and we're learning some different Force stuff along the way, and then it's just we don't really talk about it moving forward into the next one. I'm not really excited about watching the next 2 films in my 12-film marathon, just because I it's such a letdown of plot point. Like we're what an amazing story it could have been. A defected stormtrooper learns the ways of the Force and wields Luke Skywalker / Anakin Skywalker's old lightsaber. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And then it goes kerplop. So Poe, his character moving forward is interesting. He's got some cameos in the Resistance TV series, which is pretty neat. So BB-8 getting a girlfriend on the Resistance TV show. We talked about that. I absolutely love it. I love BB-8 as a droid. I love the droids. The droids and the creatures are always been very entertaining to me. What? So, not even reconciling at the end. It's just a matter of Rey and Leia having a moment of Han is gone, and now what happens next. So it's a matter of R2 wakes up again, coming to terms that he found where Luke is, that he just needed the missing piece of the map. BB-8 has the missing piece of the map, so that was given to him by Poe, who was given to him by a Resistance ally on Jakku. That's why there was the initial battling in the beginning. So now it's a matter of, when we find Luke, what happens next, right? So Rey, Chewie, R2 get on the Falcon, follow the map to Car, Octo, where Luke is, where Luke has been. So now that Rey is passing the saber, she has it. She has the saber, and she's reaching out, and he doesn't really want it. But we get Mark Hamill's Luke Skywalker just taking the hood off, beard, staring, and they just have, there's a lot, this movie has a lot of facial expression. There's not a lot of dialogue when it comes to the serious moments. It's a lot of facial expressions. And Rey facial expression to Luke facial expression, very interesting. And their conversations moving forward on Octo, very interesting. In regards to why he wanted to stop. Interesting in a good beginning of an explanation. And then kerplop. There's a lot of kerplop at the end of this sequel trilogy. It is what it is. I wish I could, I wish how do I explain this? Knowing what I know now, it's hard to watch The Force Awakens and be, yeah, like we were when we first watched it in theaters back in 2015. Because we were all, yeah, we were screaming, jumping. It was wonderful. But knowing what we know now, we're like, man, why? It's hard to love something again when you know how it ends in a non-logical point. It's very strange. It's a very strange feeling that you wouldn't think would happen within a Star Wars story. You know, the first 9 films leading up to this moment, right? Story-wise, leading up to this moment. And then with the 30 years later, after the Empire falls, we have the First Order and we have the New Republic. And then what happens next, right? So it's a conclusion of the Skywalker saga. And it's, again, central focused on Sith First Jedi. It's not so much, you know, regular people. It's not so much scavenger. Partially. It's not so much criminal syndicate. It's not so much mafia. It's not so much pirate. It's just back to the Sith First Jedi bit within the Skywalker saga. So it's just I don't know, man. It's kind of a letdown now, knowing what happens, because it's not where the character development was headed after all these decades of character development. And again, there's been so many books, as in sequel books, after the fall of the Empire. So, like, why wasn't that talked about? I don't know. I don't know. I don't have actual answers to that. It was just nice to see the gang together. It was good having the introduction of 30 years later. I don't know, man. It's been a moment. I'm really glad that the TV series have been as incredible as they have been. Yeah, so we're gonna watch episode 8. We're gonna talk about episode 8. We talked about episode 9 when that first came out. I'm not looking forward to watching it again, but we gotta watch it. We're gonna talk about episode 8. Yeah. On to the next review. Mucho mahalo.